What is going on YouTube? Gabons here and welcome to the 19th episode of the Tech Pills weekly live stream. So let's jump right to the first news of today. Ubuntu 20.04 LTS is officially out, marking a new generation for the whole Ubuntu ecosystem. So Ubuntu 20.04 Focal Fossa, the latest LTS release of Ubuntu, bound to be the new default as far as the mainstream Linux desktop and server go, is finally out. As usual for LTS releases of Ubuntu, this one will be supported for 5 years, so up until the year 2025. It's not the first time I talk about this new release of Ubuntu. In fact, I've covered it already in previous episodes of this show, mostly regarding the new GNOME 3.36. The standard version of 2004 comes with the latest version, as I said, of the GNOME desktop, that being 3.36.1, bringing big usability improvements to the whole desktop compared to the previous GNOME version, and also particularly compared to the previous version used in the previous LTS release, as well as a lot of performance improvements and bug fixes. I've already talked extensively about what's new in GNOME 3.36 and 0.1, so I'll skip on that. Another addition on top of the new GNOME version is the new appearance settings panel. That's honestly nothing fancy. It's a panel in the standard settings app that allows you to select a completely dark header bar or full dark theme, and that's definitely something that I wouldn't mind seeing on upstream GNOME. At this point, GNOME theming is still kind of a little bit here and there. It's not 100% and definitely not recommended by many GNOME or GTK app developers. Still, I would like to see this option in GNOME, even as the current state of things is. And also considering that Ubuntu is shipping this setting in an LTS release makes me think that maybe we're ready to be able to switch between a standard and a dark theme. Ubuntu 20.04 ships also with the new Linux kernel version 5.4, which is newer than any previous release, but still a little bit behind, the current version being 5.6. But still fairly recent, allowing newer hardware to run out of the box on this version. The very popular and modern in-kernel VPN WireGuard is also included in this latest release, hopefully driving adoption further in the coming years. Also because OpenVPN is a mess to configure and to use, so possibly having WireGuard as a new default could be an interesting thing. And another nice thing that's been added in this new release is the flicker-free boot using Plymouth and borrowing the work from Fedora that greatly improves the boot experience, keeping the laptop or motherboard manufacturer logo during the boot process, similarly to how Windows 10 does it. This not only looks great, but makes Ubuntu feel more like a fully integrated OS rather than a replacement OS that happens to run on your computer. So definitely something that I like to see in Ubuntu. Hopefully this comes to Arch as well. It is possible to do that, to install Plymouth and have flicker-free boot in Arch, but you have to install some packages from the AUR and core packages at that, including, I think there's a patched version of systemd boot and surely a patched version of GDM that you need to install. I'm not sure if they merged these changes in 3.36 because it's been a while since I've played around with it, but having something like this being default in, well, the whole boot stack wouldn't be a bad thing. So possibly having it in distributions like Arch or others that don't implement it by default would be interesting. So, what do you think of this new release? Are you excited? Will you upgrade right away? Or not? I mean, personally, I think I'll wait a little bit to update my server to 20.04 just to make sure that everything is working smoothly. And there's also that saying that the real LTS version is the 0.1 release, so I'm not sure how true that is, but I'll still stick with 18.04 for my server because I don't really have any urgency to upgrade as of right now. Of course, if you're on a desktop system, you're probably more inclined to update, and I would suggest you do update right now. Of course, check if there are any known issues with your current hardware. If there aren't, just feel free to update. It's a great new release and will definitely change how you experience the whole Ubuntu desktop. And just a small fan fact before we wrap this news up, the name for the next release of Ubuntu 2010 has been announced and will be, drumroll please, Groovy Gorilla. Let that sink in. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is the best distro name after Disco Dingo. I just love it. Anyway, let's move on to the next news of today. Pop! OS 2004 beta is out with lots of new features. And of course, since Pop! OS, the distribution maintained by the System76 people and built on top of Ubuntu, is of course working on the 2004 release as well. I wasn't expecting they released the newer version like the same day that Ubuntu did. So they're probably now trying to smooth less things out. And also considering that this new release brings some very interesting new changes, I understand that they're still just in the beta stage at this point. But let's see what's new. So Pop! OS keeps growing, as I said, and as 2004 has been released, the new features that are included in the Pop! OS 2004 beta at this point are, first of all, a very interesting focus on the keyboard navigation shortcuts and on the new Pop Shell extension for GNOME that allows window tiling in a similar fashion to other tiling window managers like i3, including the new included application launcher and switcher similar to launchers like Rofi. So if you're using something like Zway or i3 or other window managers, you're probably familiar with Rofi or other similar launchers, and the Pop Shell extension, along with providing the tiling feature, also provides this new nice launcher that also doubles as an application switcher as an alternative to the classic Alt-Tab window switcher. So interesting features. There's also a particular focus on Flatpak support that's now built in, to the point that they suggest using FlatHub for apps that are not available in the Pop! OS repository. So what do you guys think about Pop! OS, particularly compared to Ubuntu, to standard Ubuntu? Do you think that Ubuntu is just better for what you do, or are you probably interested more in what Pop! OS is doing? Do you use any of those? Are you more interested in one or the other? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. So let's move on to the next news of today. KDE applications 20.04 are out. So lots of 2004 stuff this month, right? April seems to be a pretty interesting month for open source software releases. Anyway, so the entire KDE application suite has been updated to 2004, and here are some of the more interesting changes that have been included. So first of all, we have some smooth scrolling and inertial scrolling in the Ocular document viewer, which is very appreciated, particularly for those using touchpads or touch screens with their computer. There are also many improvements to the Dolphin file manager, including better Samba support for shared network drives, keyboard navigation improvements, and support for the 7-zip compressed files. Another very interesting application that has received lots of updates is Kdenlive, the KDE video editor that I personally use to edit my videos. It has seen a lot of improvements in this new release, and particularly there's now a new option to scale the preview monitor, so you can change the resolution of your preview to make the performance during editing just better and overall smoother. There's now color tagging and clip replacement support in the project bin, so that you can more easily manage your project clips and color code them according to maybe particular sections of the video. There's a new option to automatically align clips to an audio reference. Again, very interesting, particularly if you're using something like a camera that doesn't have a particularly good amplifier and you're using like an external microphone recorder and you want to sync the two without having to sync the audio and the video frame by frame. You can just use this new tool. I haven't tried it yet, but I've seen a demo and it seems to be working pretty well. Another interesting feature is that Kdenlive now supports the OpenTimeline IO import and export. So OpenTimeline IO is a standard format for video editing, compositing timelines developed by Pixar. And well, it's developed by one of the biggest cinematographic studios out there, making like great big buck movies. And so having this standard, which is of course, by the way, open source, supported in Kdenlive, possibly makes interoperability with other tools more easy. There's also improved motion tracking, zoom-in support on the keyframes timeline, and many other improvements and bug fixes. So if you're a video editor out there using Kdenlive to edit your videos, don't skip on this new version because it looks like something really great. Other changes in the KDE application suite include important bug fixes in the Gwenview image viewer and the Eliza music player. Of course, there's more. If you want to learn more, just go to the KDE blog and read more about it. These are just the changes that I felt like they needed to be talked about. What do you guys think? Have I skipped on anything that you're particularly interested on? Do you like having these improvements in KDE? I personally don't use KDE, but having the possibility to use other applications from other desktop environments is always a great option. And particularly with Kdenlive, again, I love that video editor, and I've tried also other commercial and other open source video editors out there, including Lightworks, Shotcut. Let me think. Well, Premiere Pro, I've tried that. Final Cut. And none comes closer to what I need from a video editor than Kdenlive. It's not only free and open source, it's also, in my opinion, the best video editor out there. Probably you could use some performance improvements with this new version. We are already seeing lots of that. But overall, it's a great project, and I'm happy to be a Kdenlive user, and I'm happy to see the KDE ecosystem thrive. All right, let's move on to the next news of today. All the source code for Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Team Fortress 2 has been leaked. So, that's kind of funny in a way, also kind of terrifying in another way, but let's get into it. A couple of days ago, a torrent appeared on the internet containing the source code for the popular multiplayer games Counter-Strike Global Offensive, also called CSGO, and Team Fortress 2, also called TF2. Both games by Valve and available on Linux. Actually, they're two of the first games to be available on Linux at all. I mean, on Steam. Anyway, while these sounded like something to laugh at initially, and in fact I did laugh when I initially read about it, it soon became clear that this could mean quite a lot of trouble, both for Valve and for people playing these games. The biggest risk here is that malicious third parties could compile custom builds of this game having the source code available that could theoretically be used to attack unaware players. And of course, the full extent of this threat is not easy to understand or to assess. And I personally not read through the source code myself, and I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how much I could understand from reading the source. Anyway, still, it's pretty easy to understand that if you have like an application, like a game that has a server client architecture and it's all proprietary, you are in a way assuming that the client is trusted. And if someone has access to the source code and can make like a hacked client with some nasty features in there that maybe, I don't know, tricks the server into doing something or tricks our clients into doing something else, that could be kind of a problem. Mostly for players, but also for people hosting custom servers. So Valve released a statement about this news saying that they reviewed the delete code and it seems to be some old engine code from 2017, originally leaked in 2018. It's weird, I don't remember any of that from 2018, but it could have flown under my radar or something. Anyway, Valve also stated that there should be no risk playing these games at this point, as long as users stick to the official servers for maximum security. And of course, that's always kind of a given. If you want to be sure that you're not gonna be hacked or something like that, you always have to stick to official servers. That's valid for most games or other kind of services on the internet in general. As an open source enthusiast myself, I wonder if something good might come out of this. I don't really know. Maybe an open source implementation of the source engine, possibly some fancy game mods. I mean, seems unlikely, to be honest, mostly because this code is still Valve's intellectual property, and these games are still very popular and widely played, despite being quite old at this point. But who knows? Maybe in the future, when or if Valve ends support for them, we'll see their rebirth as a proper open source project, not unlike some old games like Doom or Quake 2, having open source implementations nowadays. What do you guys think? Do you think that this could be a problem for players of these games? Or maybe do you think that it's just all good and having more source code out there could just be useful in the future, if not even right now? Let me know in the comments and in the chat. Alright guys, I think this is gonna wrap it up for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, I do appreciate it. If you like this video, please make sure to press the thumbs up button down there, and also remember to subscribe to my channel if you want more of this. Also remember to join the TechPills community at techpills.technology/community, and follow me on LBRY, lbry.tv/@techpills. I still haven't put the QR code in the interface here, but I will soon. LBRY is a decentralized, well, it's an open source alternative. It's also decentralized for YouTube, and it's based on blockchain. Again, it's open source, it's free, and it's free of censorship for the most part. It's a very nice platform if you are concerned about your privacy or having some content hidden from YouTube. I mean, just check it out. Again, lbry.tv/@techpills. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.